The reading of the most set apart scripture, Genesis through Revelation. The first book of the Torah, Bereshith, also known as Genesis. Chapter 33. And Jacob lifted his eyes and looked and saw Esau coming, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children among Leah and Rachel, and the two female servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. And he himself passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes and saw the women and children, and said, Who are these with you? And he said, The children with whom Elohim has favored your servant. Then the female servants came near, they and their children, and bowed themselves. And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed themselves. And Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves. Then Esau said, What do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, To find favor in the eyes of my master. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours. And Jacob said, No, please, if I have now found favor in your eyes, then receive my present from my hand, because I have seen your face like seeing the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Please take my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has favored me, and because I have all I need. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, My master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds which are nursing are with me. And if the men should drive them hard, one day all the flocks shall die. Please let my master go before his servant, and let me lead on slowly according to the pace of the livestock that go before me, and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my master in Seir. And Esau said, Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, Why this? Let me find favor in the eyes of my master. And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Jacob set out to Succoth, and built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock. That is why the name of the place is called Succoth. And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city. And he bought the portion of the field where he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pesitah. And he set up a slaughter place there, and called it El Elohi Yisrael. Chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the land, saw her and took her and lay with her and humbled her. And his being clung to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. And he loved the girl and spoke kindly to the girl. And Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, Take this girl for me for a wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob kept silent until they came. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came in from the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved and very wroth, because he had done a senseless deed in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, which should not be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, My son Shechem's being longs for your daughter. Please give her to him for a wife, and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves, and dwell with us, and let the land be before you. Dwell and move about in it, and have possessions in it. And Shechem said to her father and her brothers, Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me, I give. Ask of me a bride price, and gift ever so high, and I give according to what you say to me. But give me the girl for a wife. But the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father, and spoke with deceit, because he had defiled Dinah, their sister. And they said to them, We are not able to do this matter, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a reproach to us. Only on this condition would we agree to you, if you become as we are, to have every male of you circumcised. Then we shall give our daughters to you, and take your daughters to us, and we shall dwell with you, and shall become one people. But if you do not listen to us and be circumcised, we shall take our daughter and go. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man did not delay to do this because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. Now he was more respected than all the household of his father. And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came to the gate of their city and spoke with the men of their city, saying, These men are at peace with us, so let them dwell in the land and move about in it. And see, the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this condition would the men agree to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us is circumcised, as they are circumcised. Their herds and their possessions, and all their beasts, should they not be ours? Only let us agree with them, and let them dwell with us. And all who went out of the gate of his city listened to Hamor and Shechem, his son. Every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. And it came to be on the third day, when they were in pain, that two of the sons of Jacob, Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and came boldly upon the city and killed all the males. And they killed Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks and their herds and their donkeys and that which was in the city and that which was in the field and all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives they took captive, and they plundered all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Shimon and Levi, You have troubled me by making me a stench among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I am few in number. They shall gather themselves against me and shall strike me, and I shall be destroyed, my household and I. But they said, Did he treat our sister like a whore? Chapter 35. And Elohim said to Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make a slaughter place there to El, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the foreign Elohims that are among you, and cleanse yourselves, and change your garments. And let us arise and go to Bethel, and let me make there a slaughter place to El, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone. So they gave Jacob all the foreign Elohims which were in their hands, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree which was near Shechem. And they departed, and the fear of Elohim was upon the cities that were all around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. And Jacob came to Luz, that is, Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, and he and all the people who were with him. And he built there a slaughter place, and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. And Deborah, Ribkah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Alon Bakuth. And Elohim appeared to Jacob again when he came from Padan Aram, and blessed him. And Elohim said to him, Your name is Jacob. Your name is no longer called Jacob, but Yisrael is your name. So he called his name Yisrael. And Elohim said to him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and increase. A nation and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body. And the land which I gave Abraham and Yishak I give to you, and to your seed after you I give this land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. And Jacob set up a standing column in the place where he had spoken with him, a monument of stone. And he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him Bethel. Then they set out from Bethel. And it came to be, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, that Rahel began to give birth, and had great difficulty giving birth. And it came to be, as she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, for it is another son for you." And it came to be, as her life was going out, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rahel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. And Jacob set a standing column on her burial place, which is the monument of Rahel's burial place to this day. And Yishmael set out and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Eder. And it came to be, when Yishmael dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Yishmael heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehuda, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rahel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rahel's female servant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came to his father Yishak at Mamre, or Kirjath Arbor, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Yishak had sojourned. And the days of Yishak were 180 years. So Yishak breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, aged and satisfied of days. And his sons, Esau and Jacob, buried him. Chapter 36. And this is the genealogy of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anan, the daughter of Sibon the Hivite, and Basemath, Yishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basemath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Yeush, and Yalam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the beings of his household, and his herds, and all his beasts, and all his possessions, which he had gained in the land of Canaan, and went to a land away from the presence of his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land of their sojournings could not support them because of their herds. So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And this is the genealogy of Esau, father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These were the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Adah, wife of Esau, and Reuel, son of Basemath, wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Himman, Omer, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was the concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Reuel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Sibon, and she bore to Esau Yeush and Yalam and Korah. These were the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, were Chief Timman, Chief Omer, Chief Sepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gatam, Chief Amalek. These were the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. They were the sons of Edom. And these were the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, Chief Nahath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shammah, and Chief Mizah. These were the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, Chief Yeush, Chief Yalam, and Chief Korah. These were the chiefs descending from Oholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these were their chiefs. These were the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan, and Shobal, and Sibon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Etzer, and Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, the sons of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the sons of Lotan were Hori and Heman. Lotan's sister was Timnah. And these were the sons of Shobal, Alwan, and Manahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. And these were the sons of Sibon, both Aya and Anah. This was the Anah who found the water in the wilderness as he fed the donkeys of his father Sibon. And these were the children of Anah, Dishon, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah. And these were the sons of Dishon, Hamdan, and Eshban, and Yithran, and Kiran. These were the sons of Etzer, Bilhan, and Zahwan, and Akan. These were the sons of Dishon, Utz, and Aran. These were the chiefs of the Horites, Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Sibon, Chief Anah, Chief Dishon, Chief Etzer, and Chief Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, according to their chiefs in the land of Seir. And these were the sovereigns who reigned in the land of Edom before any sovereign reigned over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab, son of Zerah of Botzra, reigned in his place. And Jobab died, and Hushan of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. And Husham died, and Hadad, son of Bedad, who struck Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Awith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his place. And Shaul died, and Baal Hanan, son of Achbor, reigned in his place. And Baal Hanan, son of Achbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these were the names of the chiefs of Esau according to their clans and their places by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alwa, Chief Yetha, Chief Aholibama, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mibsar, Chief Magdiel, Chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. Esau was the father of the Edomites. Chapter 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the young man was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report of them to his father. And Yisrael loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a long robe. But when his brothers saw their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and were not able to speak peaceably to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers. So they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field, and see, my sheaf rose up and also stood up. And see, your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and related it to his brothers, and said, "See, I have dreamed another dream, and see, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me." And he related it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother, and I, and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Yisrael said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." And he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What do you seek?" And he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep." And the man said, "They have left here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go towards Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said to each other, "See, this master of dreams is coming. Now, then, come and let us now kill him and throw him into some pit, and shall say, 'Some wild beast has devoured him.' Let us then see what comes of his dreams." But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands and said, "Let us not strike his being." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him," in order to rescue him out of their hands and bring him back to his father. So it came to be when Joseph had come to his brothers that they stripped Joseph of his robe, the long robe which was on him, and they took him and threw him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal, and they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Mizraim. And Yahudah said to his brothers, "What would we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers listened. And men, Midianite traders, passed by. So they pulled Joseph up, lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they took Joseph to Mizraim. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his garments. And he returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. And where am I to go?" So they took Joseph's robe, slew a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe and brought it to their father and said, "We have found this. Please look. Is it the robe of your son or not?" And he recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces." And Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his waist and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "Now let me go down into Sheol to my son in mourning." So his father wept for him. And the Midianites had sold him in Mitzrayim to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Chapter 38. And at that time it came to be that Yahudah left his brothers and turned aside to a man, an Adullamite, whose name was Hira. And Yahudah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Selah. And he was at Chezib when she bore him. And Yahudah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yahudah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of YAHUAH, and YAHUAH took his life. And Yahudah said to Onan, Go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be, when he went in to his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased YAHUAH, so he took his life too. Then Yahudah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah is grown. For he said, Lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And after a long time, the daughter of Shua, Yahudah's wife, died. And Yahudah was comforted and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. And it was reported to Tamar, saying, See, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she took off her widow's garments and covered herself with a veil and wrapped herself and sat at the entrance to Enaim, which was on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. And Yahudah saw her, and reckoned her for a whore, for she had covered her face. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, Please let me come in to you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What do you give me to come in to me? And he said, Let me send you a young goat from the flock. And she said, Do you give me a pledge until you send it? So he said, What pledge should I give you? And she said, Your seal and your cord and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave them to her, and went in to her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and removed her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Yahudah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he did not find her. And he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the cult prostitute who was beside the way to Enaim? And they said, There was no cult prostitute in this place. And he returned to Yahudah and said, I have not found her. And the men of the place also said, There was no cult prostitute in this place. And Yahudah said, Let her take them for herself, lest we become despised. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her. And it came to be about 3 new moons after that Yahudah was informed, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she has conceived by whoring. And Yahudah said, Bring her out, and let her be burned. When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant. And she said, Please examine whose these are, the seal and the cord and the staff. And Yahudah examined and said, She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son. And he never knew her again. And it came to be at the time for giving birth that, see, twins were in her womb. And it came to be when she was giving birth that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that, see, his brother came out. And she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you. So his name was called Peretz. And afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was called Zerah. Chapter 39. And Joseph had been taken down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, a Mitzrite, bought him from the Ishmaelites, who had taken him down there. And it came to be that YAHUAH was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and was in the house of his master, the Mitzrite. And his master saw that YAHUAH was with him, and that YAHUAH made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his eyes, and served him, and he appointed him over his house, and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be from the time that he appointed him over his house and all that he had, that YAHUAH blessed the Mitzrite's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of YAHUAH was on all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left in Joseph's hand all that he had, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. And Joseph was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. And after these events, it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Joseph and said, lie with me. But he refused and said to his master's wife, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has given into my hand all that he has. No one is greater in this house than I, and he has not withheld whatever from me, but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim? And it came to be, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not listen to her, to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand, and fled and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house, and spoke to them, saying, see, he has brought in to us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that, I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me, and fled and went outside. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, the Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came into me to mock me. So it came to be, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, Your servant did to me according to these words, that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. But YAHUAH was with Joseph and extended loving commitment to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Joseph all the prisoners who were in the prison, and whatever was done there was his doing. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because YAHUAH was with him, and whatever he did, YAHUAH made it prosper.